As a leader of people, you have to be a great listener, you have to be a great motivator, you have to be very good at praising and looking for the best in people.
Behind over 400 companies and a global income grossing at £21 billion yearly stands a man with a fascinatingly inspiring business career. Richard Branson is one of the entrepreneurs who stuck a finger in every pie out there. And this is the story of this business titan and his Virgin Group. Hey everyone, and welcome to Booked, where we inspire others with inspiring stories. In today's video, we're going to go over the success story of Virgin and talk about its founder, Richard Branson. So make sure to watch this video till the end, because we are going to share with you the books that Richard Branson, the founder, read and wrote along his amazing journey. Books that changed his life and that may change yours. But before getting to the middle of today's video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. People are usually extremely fascinated by stories of success of company CEOs and spend life being blown away by their glamorous transitions from rags to riches, despite all their frustrating, ruthless obstacles they face. When it comes to business giants, conglomerate chairmen, and gigantic multinational companies managers, people are somehow wary of how frighteningly fast they keep growing and absorbing every business field in sight. They are seen as filthy rich people who were somehow born that way, or were blessed with lifelong bouts of rock-smashing luck. Although those can possibly be seen as factors in some other cases, Richard Branson proves that you cannot simply exclude other parts of the equation that are just as important, if not more, such as perseverance, sleuth, wild ambitions, and a strong, undying will to learn and enjoy a wide horizon of expertise and business savvy. What follows is the story of Richard Branson's ambitions and success. British origins. Richard Charles Nicholas Branson was born in London, precisely in Blackheath, on July 18, 1950. His father, Edward James Branson, occupied the position of a barrister, while Yvette Huntley Flint, his mother, was formerly a ballerina before turning to entrepreneurship. Richard Branson received some education at Skatecliff School in Surrey, then attended Cliffview House School in Sussex for a brief time. He also went to Stowe School in Buckinghamshire until he was 16 years old. Branson suffered dyslexia, which unfortunately furthered in the poor academic performance he had and gave him a not-so-pleasant experience with schools. His headmaster even went to tell him on his last day at school that he'd either occupy a cell in prison or become a man of millions. The billionaire in the making. Richard Branson grew in a supportive environment that stood by him in spite of hardships and impediments. His struggle with dyslexia led him to drop out at the age of 16, and it was then where he expressed his urging desire to dominate the entrepreneurship world. His parents respected and supported his wish, and his mother even granted him £300. Before, he sold parakeets and Christmas trees, but that did not go well. His first venture materialized in his magazine Student, which was centered on student and youth culture topics and issues. The magazine was first launched in 1966, and the first issue appeared in January of 1968. Around 50,000 copies were distributed for free, the costs of which Branson was planning to cover later through advertising, which earned him $8,000 on the first edition. Richard then had a net worth of £50,000. In order to expand, Branson started up a mail-order-based record shop along with his childhood friend Nick Powell, and they named it Virgin. The name Virgin is a nod at his and Powell's business knowledge at that time. We were business virgins then, as Branson put it. It did well enough for him that he actually opened a record company in London in 1969. Then in 1972, he was able to put together a recording studio in Oxfordshire. Afterwards, he used the income from the shop to fund the magazine, and in return, used the magazine to advertise for the records that his shop sold and for the artists that recorded at the label. The first artist to record at the Virgin Records was Mike Oldfield, and his song Tubular Bells of 1973 was immediately a smashing hit and dominated the charts for 247 weeks. That was more than enough to give the label the perfect momentum, and soon enough, famous names like Genesis, Culture Club, Janet Jackson, and Rolling Stone signed with it. Reaching success. Richard Branson's ambitions during his initial ventures gave him some great momentum, which he took advantage of to conquer every field he possibly could. The Virgin brand had its own first megastore in 1979, and then expanded to Japan and the USA in the 90s, and then the Middle East and Australia in the early 2000s. By 1981, Virgin entered the gaming world under the name Virgin Games, which later changed to Virgin Interactive and released video games tailored according to classic systems like the ZX Spectrum, the C64, the Amstrad CPC, and the Amiga. In 1984, Richard Branson took on the airways and Virgin Atlantic was born. He then took interest in travel and founded Virgin Holidays and Virgin Airship, which specialized in hot air balloons and airships. His ambitions were clearly relentless, and he didn't stop there. He had ventures in the world of books, cinema, cosmetics, bridal fashion, banks, trains, drinks and alcohol, radio, cars, credit cards, healthcare, and even space. But that isn't even the half of it all. One can't simply state every single business idea Richard Branson brought to life and baptized as a new Virgin branch without taking forever. Branson was knighted in the year 2000 for his entrepreneurial services to the world, and that only made him eager to expand further. He had several philanthropic stands in which he helped disadvantaged communities such as the Pride and Purpose initiative in South Africa and other initiatives in the entrepreneurial world for small startups to grow through financial help and mentorship. Some examples include Foodpreneur, which helped food entrepreneurships every year by selecting the winning ideas through a competition, Virgin Startup, which helped around 11,000 startups throughout the United Kingdom, and the Branson Center of Entrepreneurship. Richard Branson is a multi-billionaire with a net worth of £4.4 billion and owned previously 4 islands, but now has 3. Necker Island, purchased at $270,000 in 1978, Makepeace Island in Australia, purchased at $3 million in 2007 and is rented for $8,000 a night, and the Great Britain Island, one of the man-made islands in Dubai in 2006. Mosquito Island, purchased at $15 million in 2007, is the island Branson gave away to be used as a natural reserve for lemurs and other endangered species in the future. He also owns the Roofs Gardens in London, a pleasant retreat with exotic birds, flowing fountains, and aesthetically pleasing gardens and views. In addition to Roof Gardens, he owns other equally picturesque retreats including Mahali, Missouri in Kenya, Ulisaba Safari Lodge in South Africa, and the Lodge Verbier in Switzerland, and Casbah Temedote in Morocco, and they're all investment properties. Book recommendations. The Virgin Group founder is a prolific reader and author. He's written over 7 books despite his hectic, insanely busy life, and recommends more than 60 books he read. And what follows is a list of books that you should consider if you're willing to take a path like Branson's. Screw It, Let's Do It, Lessons in Life by Richard Branson. From the business giant that built his own empire, this book offers essential life lessons that Branson went through and learned through his experience. This book shows just how much of an approachable and down-to-earth person Richard Branson is and highlights his outstanding abilities to go against the odds. A Full Life, Reflections at 90 by Jimmy Carter. This book carries Jimmy Carter, 39th U.S. President's reflections on his life as a politician, a philanthropist, a businessman, and as an evangelist through anecdotes and ideas expressed in a way that feels like a heart-to-heart talk. Black Box Thinking, Why Most People Never Learn from Their Mistakes, but Some Do, by Matthew Syed. This insightful work emphasizes the necessity of having a mindset that supports continuous growth drawn from past mistakes. Syed argues that some mistakes like those of the medical field and aviation are in fact deadlier, and people must work together to prevent those through constantly improving after each mistake. But that doesn't mean less deadlier mistakes should be completely ignored. He discusses the importance of the black box, and the even bigger importance of applying its analogy to other fields. Long Walk to Freedom by Nelson Mandela. Internationally named as one of history's greatest figures and heroes, Nelson Mandela lived a life of continuous struggle and fight against racism, which was finally crowned with a well-deserved glorious triumph. As a record and a story that highlights those details, Long Walk to Freedom is evidently considered as one of the finest works in the world of memoirs. Stalingrad, The Fateful Siege, 1942 to 1943, by Anthony Beaver, Artemis Cooper. Although purely historical and almost completely off topic with regards to entrepreneurship and self-development, Branson still recommends this masterpiece, which vividly describes the struggles of both Nazi and Russian soldiers during the battle and the horrid conditions, and goes through the fright of the civilians who are caught in the middle of an urban battleground. Frustration can be an enormous driver of change if you're good at spotting the opportunity sitting right at the center of a problem. said Richard Branson once. One can learn a lot and feel motivated to conquer every possibility there is, but sometimes we lose all interest at the first disadvantage. You can tell the reason Richard Branson is successful is more about his mindset. He offers some important lessons through his career, that one should never have enough of anything, that one should never belittle the prospect of success or assume failure right off the bat when ideas are presented, and that chances should always be taken. This was a peek at the success story of Richard Branson and his Virgin Group, and it was a genuine pleasure for us to feature it here on Booked.